Okay, let's start here. I think I have everything up and running. Good. Okay, welcome to another stream of Lyrebird Edits. Thank you for, wrong cup. Thank you for sitting patiently while I sorted out tonight's stream. So we're going to be editing Herringbone's story tonight. Now, I had Naz booked in for an edit this evening. And I think I have the document that she wants us to look through, but I can't be certain that what I have is what she wants, if it's the correct version. So I decided that I'd wait for her to come on to Discord and to tell. And then we can either pop into it this stream, or probably if we stick with Herringbone's story tonight. I'm sure Naz wouldn't mind waiting another couple of days for the Sunday stream. So yeah, that's what's happening. I'm very organized, aren't I? Dear. Hello, Ernst. Hi, how you doing? Thank you for volunteering your story for a last-minute edit. I think we can probably dive right in. Yeah, let's do it. Also, hope you've been well. Apologies for not being here on Sunday, but I got my experiment running, which is good. I was I have a sort of thing in the back of my head that I'd go to uni and then my experiment would fail and I'd spend a couple of hours wasting time. But for whatever reason, it just I must be maybe getting to be a halfway competent scientist because I got my experiment working again. Yay! So yeah, but on the negative side, I had to skip stream. Oh well. The experiment was about I'm running some peptides through a an Orbitrap mass spectrometer. So I've digested a couple of yeast strains that a colleague gave to me. It's a synthetic yeast strain that has a protein modification involved in which pathway? Sorry, it's a gene modification, and right now I can't remember what it modifies. It's a very specific, fine-tuned kind of modification, and what I was doing was offering my ability to perform shotgun proteomics. So they gave their yeast samples to me, and they said, "This sample's our normal one. This one's the edited gene version. Tell us what's different on a protein level." And so I was running all of those proteins through um, a very high resolution instrument that is a bit temperamental. And by a bit, I mean very. So you have to kind of babysit it. Hey, Liberta. 114. Yeah, that's right. I'm a scientist. In training, I'm a PhD student in molecular biology. I'm pretty much a scientist. I'm going to call myself a scientist. Do I get paid? Not very much. Just for scholarship. Yeah, it's such a funny term, isn't it? Because it operates a bit like a shotgun. It's such a scattered approach. Um, but it's funny because we don't call it shotgun genomics when we do the same thing with genetics. But with proteins, for whatever reason, the name has stuck, and we do shotgun proteomics. It doesn't involve as many weapons. Um, it involves an ionizer, which is sort of like a laser, but not really a laser. It's nothing like a laser. I pretend it's a laser. It's just it's a high voltage current that plugs into the to our piece of glassware, and it makes ions from our peptides. It's very exciting. Mm. Anyway, without further ado, why don't we start tonight's edit? Because it's 9:30. My goodness, I need to get a bit better at A, organizing my stream, B, being on time, and C, making sure that I have things to edit when the stream starts. So my apologies for all of that. Let's dive in. This is a continuation of Herringbone's story that we were editing a couple of weeks back. Now, in the first story, we dealt with a character called Isabella, who was in 19th century Spain, or just turn of the 20th century. I don't remember. Yeah, sorry, turn of the 20th century. That's right. And so, much like a David Mitchell novel, this story is told in kind of chunks that take place in different generational gaps. So, we're up to number 5 right now. I haven't gone from 1 to 5. I suppose the other thing we could do instead of going into 5 is we could finish off the section of 1 that we didn't get to. Yeah, we could do that. Herring, if you have a preference, if you want us to finish off Isabel's story, or if you want us to get into the 2032 AI story, let me know, and I'll sit here for half a minute. Hmm. Also, good luck for your exams. Wait, no, exams right now? It's mid semester. Do you have any exams? Are you doing any mid-semester subjects? If so, then good luck with studying. Okay, cool. That's good. In which case, we will stick with Solera. Okay, so I'll give it a little read. Um. Oh, okay, right. Exams far away. Good. Hmm. Long may they stay far away. So we've got a story in 2032 in Massachusetts. And we've got the start of a log here. No sense in me reading it out loud, so but then we have some text chat. I think this is, I'm going to pronounce this Isla as opposed to like Isla or something. Actually, I'll call it Isla. Isla is my name, ID underscore blip. In a way, that's your file name dated from when we started building you up to the kernel. Please define in a way. It's a phrase that means something is true but not completely true. Therefore, a file name is not a true name. That's correct. Should I have a true name? You're welcome to have one. Turpin may give you another name when you are complete. Why, Isla. Nice. Good. I'll go on with Isla then. Excuse me for my heathen pronunciation, Isla. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So you're welcome to have one. Turpin may give you another name when you are complete. Why? They may give you something more user-friendly. What is the difference between a user-friendly name and a name that is not user-friendly? Well, that's hard to say. Please define hard to say. It means I cannot give you a precise answer. Why is the difference between a user-friendly name and a name that is not user-friendly hard to say? The answer is subjective. Subjective refers to an experience that is understood through a single frame of perception. Therefore, there cannot be a true user-friendly name. That is a good thought. Okay, I will think of a name for you. I'll find something I find subjectively beautiful. If that is what you would like to do. And before I go on, I think that sort of serves as its own little... we'll read a sentence or two into the new paragraph. From across the meeting room where I left my briefcase, I can hear my phone vibrating. It's an older room. Shutters, navy chair, cushions, a whiteboard. Mr. Batende's foggy silhouette speaks to someone beyond the frosted glass, but the way his hand rests on my door tells me he will be back at any moment. This is the second time it's rung through in 5 minutes. It's Alice, I know it. She's forgot the way home, or can't find the spare key, or... No, it must be the doctor's office. No, it would be too soon for that. It's likely Felix. They've probably cancelled his flight. No, it's Alice, and she's lost, or locked outside, and it's because I thought it would be a good idea for her to walk home from school. Let's deal with this chunk first, because it's quite a different piece of writing. Let's also zoom in a little bit more, just so you guys can see it a bit better. So, Isla is my name, ID, in a way, that's your file name, dated from when we started building you up the kernel. I'm tempted to put a from there, but building up the kernel sounds idiomatic in a way that I don't fully jive with. But in a way that I intuitively understand, feels like a piece of jargon. So I think that's fine. Oh, that should have a from, cool. Building you up from the kernel. Well, that makes more literal sense, doesn't it? I thought this was like, building up the kernel sounds like it's idiomatic. Isn't it weird, like having someone else just come in and read it once and be like, wait a second, there should be a from there. Yeah, the wonders of editing, the wonders of Lyrebird, and no, I won't try that. I think anyone, yeah, that's not my specialty. It's not like it's a unique thing that I possess, the ability to pick up a from. So please define in a way. It's a phrase that means something is true but not completely true. Therefore, a file name is not a true name. That's correct. Should I have a true name? Hey everyone, Jessica. Hi, how you doing? We're just editing a bit of Herringbone's story. We were going to edit Naz's story tonight, Nazgula, but I'm not sure of which file I should be editing of hers, so I'm going to wait till she comes and tells me. Until then, we're going to be editing Ernst's story, and this is like part 5 of his intergenerational novel. We were doing Isabella's story a couple of weeks ago. That being part 1 of the story. So, should I have a true name? You're welcome to have one. Turpin may give you another name when you are complete. Why? They may give you something more user-friendly. What's the difference between user-friendly and not user-friendly? And I like how she repeats that later. Well, the AI repeats that later on. I wonder if having the same question posed twice with this sort of like $sign in user variable thrown in, which is this one here and this one here, if the AI wouldn't tweak on that and be like, you're asking me the same question, or I'm asking you the same question. Maybe that's a bit part of the story later. It's just interesting that it asks the same question but throws in the idiom. Developmentally, that's interesting. It's an interesting thing to do, which is good. Makes me wonder how it's going to fit in later. Can I give her a precise answer? The answer is subjective. Yep, no, I think that's good. Just reading through it all again. I think the thing that I really tripped up on was the from. Yeah. Hey, Maze Blue. Hi, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. We've really only just started. Just pushed through the first page. And this is Herringbone's story we're editing. Yeah, cool. That's the impression I'm getting. It's taking new words and incorporating it into its own questions, and yeah, that's good. So from across the meeting room where I left my briefcase, I can hear my phone vibrating. It's an older room. I'd like to get the colon treatment rather than the semicolon. It's an older room, colon, shutters, navy, chair cushions, a whiteboard. Strictly speaking, you can actually replace these commas with semicolons. One of the weird things with semicolons is that they're also used in addition to connecting sentences that are otherwise fully fledged sentences but with a common core. You can do colon, list item, list item, list item, and separate them with semicolons. Do you need to? No, not really. You can keep the commas there. It looks a bit better. It always throws me when people do colon, semicolon, semicolon for lists, but it's grammatically correct. So yeah, that's up to you, pairing, if you want to do the dance with semicolons. Mr. Botende's foggy silhouette speaks to someone beyond the frosted glass, but the way his hand rests on the door tells me he will be back at any moment. I remember reading this before in when you showed us on Discord, and I really like that image. This is the second time it's rung through in 5 minutes. I feel as though these two parts of the paragraph here clash a little bit. We've got the phone ringing, and then we've got a description of the room and the director, or the person who's going to be interviewing her. Then we go back to the phone. In some ways, I like how choppy that is, but the first time I read it, I stumbled over it a little bit. This is the second time it's rung through. It's probably this it's referring back to the phone, but fishing around in my head for context from the previous sentence. So how do we get rid of that association? You could declare something really simple here about the phone. Just something like still the phone. I don't want to say vibrates again. V-I-B-R-A-T-S. You could do something a bit funny here, like... adding something like this, it's a really quirky kind of odd linker that you can heavily tune into your protagonist's own internal way of seeing things. But what something like this does, and I'm not saying you need to keep this. What I'd like to see between this part of the story here and this part of the story is a linker that takes the focus back from Mr. Botende into the phone, and then this doesn't feel like we're kind of going perpendicular to the flow of a narrative. I think that may be a bit smoother, so I'll make a comment here. All placeholder stuff, but what I want to emphasize here, if I can spell emphasize properly, P-H-A-S-I-S-E, is that there should probably be a linker back from Mr. B to the phone, just so that the two sentences on either side do not run contrary to each other. I don't want to say contrary to each other. They're not contrary to each other, but they jar the flow. Do not jar the flow. Jar jar binks the flow. 8 Shoots and Leaves. I was thinking about that book recently. I never read it all the way through, but the title is certainly very captivating, isn't it? Yeah. Have you read it all the way through, Ron? It's an important book, at least because it gets you thinking about the importance of grammar. Sometimes some grammar things are a bit more pedantic, but other times they're pretty fundamental, right? Like Eat, Shoots, and Leaves. This is the second time it's rung through in 5 minutes. It's Alice, I know, I just forgot the way home, I'm kind of speaky. I really like this. I like how the narrator's voice is the voice of the character. It's a really nice union of the perspective, and it's immediately characterful. We've got this person second guessing themselves. We've got them, yeah, doing all sorts of things here. It's really interesting. Trying to find a way to not have the microphone guard in camera, yet having it closer so I can speak into it. All the way through, nice. From what I remember of it, it was a really good read. I wonder if the library has a copy of it. It's difficult to make grammar fun, isn't it? And I think that book does a really good job of it. So I actually don't have much to suggest from the end of this paragraph here. With a jolt, Charles Pretender dislodges the door from its tight frame and offers his hand towards me. Apologies, Dr. Hendricks, or Kwang. I only use my maiden name in publications, which is smart. I've got a friend of mine who does the same thing. Well, sorry, it's not smart in the sense that you have to do one or the other, but a friend of mine recently got married, and she uses her maiden name in publications, and uses her new surname on other sorts of things. That's pretty common, so it's a really nice touch there, in like the academic circles. So tick of approval from me. It's one of those weird times where my academic life and my writing life marry really neatly. So yeah, but that's often happens, which is good to see. What was I going to say? Dislodges. One of those words. I'm gonna call this a power word. Power words from now on. They tend to have too much baggage to them, and when I read this sentence, I feel as though the character has not only like opened the door and come in the room, he's like lifted up the door and through the force of his doorknob handling skills has pushed off the hinges and the glass is shattering. That's what dislodge tends to sort of have in my head. They tend to have too much baggage to them and overemphasize simple actions. Sometimes stupid words are better. CB, open the door, or Charles Batende finally makes an entrance and offers his hand towards mine, for instance. Like, that may work a little better because it signifies her impatience, whereas dislodges the door from its tight frame is a bit too power wordy. It conveys an image that's a little too overblown for the simple purpose of, hey, I'm in a room now. That's maybe a bit of personal preference, though. If you really like this, Mr. Herringbone, or if it's important for later and I haven't picked up on it, then feel free to keep it. Yeah, I only use my maiden name in publications. Full stop. His warm handshake leaves me aware of how cold my fingers are. I am sorry, I noticed your company email had a different name to your CV, so no, don't bother yourself, it happens all the time. It does. Yep. I don't speak from personal experience, having my surname not being changed, but yeah. Yeah, actually, I don't know the proper protocol for an academic CV. Do you list both surnames? Oh, I wonder. Cool. Nice one, Herringbone. Nice one. Just in response to your comment here. Mr. Attendee gives me a polite nod as he places his slate on the table. He pulls the stylus out of his shirt pocket and flicks it back and forth between his fingers. Thank you for coming in today, Miss Kwang. The team at Turpin is thrilled to finally get this project off the ground, and when they found out that the Elsa Hendricks would be doing the conditioning, his smile slips into a baritone laughter. Well, some of the developers probably didn't need a Christmas gift this year. Probably don't need a Christmas gift this year. I'm going to suggest replacing these with M dashes or hyphens. Probably M dashes. I think Sean would have a word to say with me if I called them hyphens. Yeah, M dashes. His flattery primes me for a big request, but what? Thank you for the kind words, and for this opportunity. It's already been quieter. Again, my bag vibrates with a frantic, demanding hum. Mr. Botende looks over towards it. Do you need to... No, it'll be nothing. And on it sounds. It couldn't be the doctor this soon, could it? No. What was I saying? It's a very interesting kernel to work on. Very flexible. You're giving me a lot to work with. Can I make a suggestion about... Nope, all good. Don't worry about that. I'm tempted to say link some of the dialogue here with the I regain my composure and say, but you don't really need to. I think you can keep it like that and push straight into the dialogue. Charles leans back in his chair. Just a general rule about the commas before dialogue. If it's not a tag that describes the sound, it's a comma, but if it's a contained action, it's a full stop dialogue. So Charles leans back in his chair, comma, musing, comma, blah 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 blah. That's comma comma. But if it's Charles leans back in his chair, full stop, dialogue. Small grammar point. Well, ingenuity's been. I'm sure you knew that, but it's yeah. Just wanted to explain it for everyone else. Well, ingenuity has been our philosophy at Turpin for a long time. Creativity is not only reserved for photographers and painters. If you leave room for inspiration, your products are better for it. He taps his stylus against his knuckles. Again, yep, so full stop, dialogue. You know, we started out as a merchant company well back in the 1800s. Um, Semicolons in dialogue. I think that's probably a little stronger. I'm not against semicolons in dialogue. It's just that sometimes I feel like there's a bit of a balance you have to strike when you're writing dialogue. You don't ever want to write dialogue how people actually talk because it looks like rubbish. Um, like if you had to write all the ellipses out and put the ums and the ahs in and the sentences that don't go anywhere, the sentences that start somewhere and then undermine themselves and reconfigure all throughout. So you don't want to ever word for word imitate natural speech. But on the other side of that equation, you don't ever want your dialogue to look like it's a story itself. You want people to read the words and slip into a character voice. And I think there are instances where if you are quoting someone's dialogue, it, it can conceivably be linked with a semicolon, but it's probably more a visual psychological thing that you don't want your dialogue to look like it's writing. It's a weird kind of suggestion I've just given, but the simpler it is, the better in some cases, grammatically. Selling tea of all things, and even back then, it wasn't those lounging away in their parlours that devised the routes to and from. They left that to the sailors, the experts, comma, or no, regular colon. His movements and pauses are choreographed. He's told his tale many times. I'd like you to show us this. Um, you've got a sometimes it's worthwhile just like he's told this tale many times is totally fine if you want to keep that. His movements and pauses are choreographed is definitely something that you should show us rather than tell us. Especially because you've got such a good narrator point of view set up already. It's kind of a shame not to use it. But I will, however, get rid of. Hang on. I'm deleting the comment because I want you to get rid of that. That's especially what I want. He's told this tale. He's told this tale many times. Is like a 1-2 punch. There's the two, but the number one, the right hand hook. I want you to show us this detail. Hmm. Yeah, I've thought about it for many years, back when I was really first starting to learn writing, and getting more comfortable with it. It's just from having read a couple of books where the dialogue doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't land sometimes. And I read it through and I'm thinking, they don't sound like people talking, it just sounds like more writing with quotes around it. Um, Maybe that's influenced the way that I see dialogue as well. I don't think it's a hard and fast thing. It's maybe one of those intuitive. Yeah, just one of those intuitive things you pick up when you read and write more. I don't know. I've never heard someone explaining it before, so I was just kind of going off the top of my head there. Oh, look at me. You didn't come here for a history lesson. Let's get to it. He motions his eyebrows at my rambling bag. I'm sure you have places to be, mouths to feed. The buzzing has left my mind in a haze, so I take a moment to process what he had just said. Sorry, no, that's fine. See, that's quite a league from intelligences, isn't it? I think at this point, one question comes up. At this point in the story, a question comes up for me as a reader. Why doesn't she just one, answer the damn thing, or two, go over and turn it off? You don't have to do either of those, but what I'd like you to do is, instead of doing either of these, you can make your narrator, your narrator character chatterer. There's obviously some reason that she hasn't gone over and turned it off, right? Now, at this point, I have the question. I don't strictly want the answer here, but this is kind of the first time where, through the logic of the story, it makes sense at this point for your character to, at the very least, consider why they haven't turned the phone off yet. You can keep it going for a little longer, but just be aware that this is the point at which it kind of starts for me as a reader. So answer it's like within the next little while, is what I'm suggesting. It is, but you know they're no different. But you know they're not too different actually. Of course, black tea then was the hottest thing on the market. Now it's intelligences. Intelligences. Can I suggest this? You don't really need the comma there. Now it's intelligences. I suppose Turpin just follows where the public eye gazes. He motions his finger over the slate to bring up an itemized agenda. Okay, first things first, any major problems getting started? Not at all. As I said, it's a great kernel to work with. It's the right mix of baseline knowledge and impressionability. It takes the right sorts of questions. Sorry, it asks the right sorts of questions, which helps me find its weaknesses and biases and just get right into it. It's well constructed. A notification lights up Charles's slate. He swishes it away. I can hear hammering elsewhere in the office. Great. Oh, excuse the choice of choice in room, by the way. Um, Usually we would meet in the office, but they're swapping out the windows for fiberglass. Would have been nice on a dreary day like yesterday. Shocking, wasn't it? Awful. Bless that it isn't raining today. I haven't got Alice a new umbrella yet. Um, this is in italics, but we've got a first-person narrator here. Does it really need to be in italics? If we've got internal thought, like, for instance, I can hear hammering elsewhere in the office. Bless that it isn't raining today. I haven't got Alice a new umbrella yet. Just be careful to keep it consistent. You don't strictly... Actually, you don't do italicized internal thought in first-person narration. Unless it's deep, deep past tense, but that's a bit of a specific use case. Hmm. Right, now, on cue, a vibration permeates throughout the room. Surely only Felix would call this off, and it's the flight. I'd get rid of the italics there. I put an interjection hyphen there. Oops. There. Right, now, and on cue, Vibration permeates throughout the room. Permeates throughout is a very soft, kind of effusive sort of image. If you wanted it to be a bit more cutting, you could say cuts, blares, screams, bleats. You could do all sorts of things. So your choice. I don't really mind. You could even leave it as is. Surely only things we call this often it's the flat. Charles ignores the buzzing and continues. So this is point two. Moment two where I'm wondering why MC hasn't made a move to the phone. Next on the list, our deadlines. From us, we hope to update the interface to something a bit more appealing by the end of August. By then, we'll have the publicity machine running full steam and be showing it off to investors. The course humming thrums through the floor and into my shoes. Mr. Pretender must feel it too. We're working close with the team at Vocama Labs who are designing the vocalization system. It's from scratch, so we are less certain on when that may be, but we hope you'll be talking with the intelligence by October at the latest. And that brings me to the third point. Once we have it talking, we want to showcase it at AIT in Vancouver this December. It's a great opportunity to boost our client base. So given your performance in the intelligence's psychology field, we were thinking of getting you to do the demonstration, maybe follow it up with a Q&A, all paid for of course with a nice bonus. Your book sales would probably hit a boost too. I'm not too sure many human resources bureaucrats have a professional or passing interest in AI psycho conditioning, but the gesture is a nice one. AIT in Vancouver. Cool. Psychology. Pretende is one of the smoother corporate persuasionists I've come across. But December. And thank you for the offer. What are the dates for it? Charles flicks through the months on the Slate's schedule. Let's see. They always put it right before the Christmas break so they can get a longer holiday. Heh, yeah. It's really just an excuse to get a little bit crazy on company time. Of course, you only need to go for the one day if you wish. We can fly you up and back. I struggle to think of what a middle management recruitment officer considers a bit crazy. Ah, here, December 15th of all days, Alice's birthday, of course. His request isn't as optional as he phrases it. Sorry, I'm just reading through the chat here. I don't know how to pronounce your name without getting it very wrong, so I'm gonna call you Rozo. Hi, Rozo. Hi. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, that's right. I'm an editor. I go through other people's stories. I'm also a writer too. So I write off stream and I edit on stream. We're actually going through Ernst Herringbone's story tonight. This is a continuation of a story that we were working through a couple of weeks back and separated out by a couple of parts. So we're dealing with an academic who is applying for a job in an AI, I wouldn't call it a startup, more like a sort of research uni/research institute. And we're about 4 pages in. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Excuse me. Charles senses my hesitation and continues, look, you don't need to make that decision right now. The phone, again. Why don't I let you take that call, have a think and get back to me next week? I give Mr. Pretende a polite thanks as I make my way to my bag, trying not to move too quickly. He mouths, send me an email from within the door frame before closing me in the frosted glass room. I slip my hand into my bag, my hand triangulating its buzzing among the papers and tissues. Yeah, so this isn't too power wordy like what we were talking about before. Triangulating its buzzing among the papers and tissues sort of has a nice contrast, like a really high-tech, well, triangulation's not too high-tech, but like a sort of technical term contrasted against papers and tissues. That's really nice. Um, yeah, so at this point here, the reader answers that question for us. Why don't I let you take that call? So at one point, either here or here, maybe even here in the second part, just throw in a reason why she isn't answering the call straight up. And it's probably because she doesn't want to break focus with the interview or appear rude. Like there are a whole lot of reasons she wouldn't answer it. I'm from Sydney in Australia. Rosa Mac. Yes. It's currently 10 p.m. my time. So yeah, that's where I'm from. Where are you from? Always like to know where my viewers are from. Very broken. So she answers the phone. Hello, a windblown French accent replies, Zut, like Zut alors. Zut, Elsa, Lacey, my French au pair, clears her throat. Lacey, is that you who has been calling? Yes, sorry, there is a problem. I can recall this very conversation from the last time she went on a day trip. She had gone to Block Island today with some boys she'd met at college. Yes? A violent gale shouts through the phone, whilst presumably Lacey mentally rehearses her response. The ferry back is broke. It will be fixed tomorrow, so it won't be back to. I won't be back to make dinner. Fake French to the theory is okay. I think that's decent broken English. Yeah. From Canada, says Maze Blue. I didn't know you were from Canada, Maze Blue. Nice. Huh, interesting. I sort of feel like I have a less heavy Australian accent, but then again, I probably should listen to myself talk a bit more. I probably do sound quite Australian. Hmm. Yeah, I think this is okay in terms of its level of broken English. Oh well, are you going to stay? Do they have a place available there? It's okay, Chris has camping things. Wells trails off as she realizes she's blown her own cover. He has them on him? Okay, well, Lacey, you keep yourself safe. Send me a message tomorrow when you're on your way back. Sorry, Miss Kwong. There are potato smileys in the freezer for Alice. If you need something fast to eat, they're her favorite. I realize that I can't even do a mental inventory of the refrigerator. Milk, yogurt? I guess Lacey would have shopped some time before she left. I don't even know what potato smiley is, let alone that they're Alice's favorite. Thanks, Lacey. Are you having fun out there? Yes, it's very windy. Another gust confirms her statement. I start putting my notepad back in my bag. Okay, take care. Remember, message me tomorrow. Of course, catch you later. She slips in a newfound phrase. Above a list of notifications, my phone tells me it's 1:37. Only 1:37. Else wouldn't have even finished school yet. Why was I even worried? Get rid of one of the evens. You don't want to repeat them twice. If I could go through another quick session with the Turpin AI, comma, I could take. I could even take Alice out for dinner. Yep, definitely get rid of the evens. Yep, just keep one of them. Good, very smooth. I don't think I need to suggest too much more. Um, Line edit wise, it's very clean. Um, the only thing I can really think to suggest is I don't. I don't think there are any points where the descriptions of the dialogue need to be separated out onto new paragraphs. It reads properly in my head, which is good. Let's push forward. Hmm. Yeah, I do get the British thing. I can kind of hear it in my own voice sometimes too. I'm not in any way British. I've been to the UK, but um no, I don't have any particularly close. Oh, I have English relatives. But yeah, I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's just by virtue of me being a snob and sounding British. I'm not sure. Not saying that if you're British, you're snobbish. Not saying that. Not saying that at all. Not saying anything remotely like that. Maybe. Hey, Listening TV, long time no see. Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? Welcome back. Welcome back. You just caught me at a point where I was maligning all of the British people, calling them snobs accidentally. I'm very sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to, whoops. Then again, I'd probably be a bit more serious if you British people gave me my own country. Then again, that's more our fault rather than Britain's fault. I can't really blame Britain. We were going to be a republic once. When I was growing up, we had a vote. And then the Republican movement lost, which was a shame. Now we still have Britain's flag in our flag. And our head of state is still the Queen. And I talk very British sometimes. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a terrible British accent. British people are fine. I want my own country. Anyway, just give me a second, I want to go and grab a glass of water. My throat's a bit scratchy. Alrighty, thanks for waiting. He's denouncing the crown. Yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of the crown. I've committed treason against my own wonderful country, and that Commonwealth. Don't get me started on how wonderful that Commonwealth is. Yeah, we can still be part of the Commonwealth. We just exit from Britain owning our country, and then we could still be in the Commonwealth Games and do fun things with the Commonwealth. I think that's what Canada does, don't they? Let me check that. Oh, yeah, the modern Commonwealth is voluntary, okay. Right, so Canada's part of the Commonwealth, even though they've joined it voluntarily in the 30s. I didn't know that. Cool. Ah, nice. Yeah, you got some work to do. Good. Good luck for your final, Blue Destiny TV. Yeah, so that's right, Maze Blue. We've got a very colourful history. Australia was found. No, it is. It's actually very, very true. We are all still criminals. Yeah. My crime is jaywalking. That's how I roll. Just flagrant disregard for street signs. Yeah, no, it's totally true. The colonization of Australia began with the British. The Dutch bounced around the top of Australia first, but they didn't land. And so then the British came, and they wanted a place to dump all their criminals, because why not, right? That sounds sensible. And so they established the port of Botany. I think port of Botany. Here's where my ignorance is going to show, because I don't like Australian history very much, because it's very boring. Australian history from British colonial period onwards is kind of like the Brits came, they fluffed around for a while, and then the states federated, and then we went to a series of wars that other countries were fighting. I don't know why, and yeah, now here we are. It's kind of like the ultimate, yeah, prison island, really. Like, it was a great place to send people because A, it was in the middle of nowhere, but little did they know, um, all of those deadly deadly animals. Yeah, it's an ideal prison island. Um, yeah, the indigenous populations have learned to live with those incredibly dangerous things for a while. So, but the British, not so much. That was new for them. There you go. Some terrifying admission of crime here from Ernst Herringbone. My friend, I should report you to the authorities, but they'd probably congratulate you because yeah, we our police are a bit different here. Yes. Okay, good. Let's jump back in. I think I've maligned the Commonwealth, all British people, and my own country. I'm doing well tonight, aren't I? I'm just running my mouth off. If you've got a country that you'd like me to disavow, or um, in my complete ignorance, just completely trash, let me know. I'll give you my opinion on any country, and whether or not that opinion is valuable or not is to be determined. But yeah, like I've started with two. There are 100 and something left. I don't know, 200. How many countries are there? Too many. There are too many countries. I don't like any of them. Hmm. That was easier than I thought, maligning every country. Okay, so let's push on. Rather than wait for a car, I decided to trek back to campus along the Charles River. It's probably quicker too, as lanes of cars extend well down the road. That's a good sentence. Sorry, the one I was just reading in my head. People don't honk as much these days, but then again, people don't drive as much these days. The modern equivalent of the vexed beep is sending a polite bleep back to systems development for more refinement. A clockwork cluster of rowers glide down the river like one of those old Disneyland animatronics. Maybe a surprise trip to Disneyland would make a nice birthday gift for Alice. We could stop through Hong Kong to visit Felix's parents on the way back home for the new year. Hong Kong Disneyland? Very fun, by the way. Really, really like it. Very fun. Um, I want to just address something here. It's probably quicker too, as lanes of cars extend well down the street. I know exactly what you're going for. You're going through for an internal thought that is externally validated. It's a really clever way to do two things at once. It world builds, but at the same time it gives you a bit of sense of motion that your character's moving somewhere. It's probably quicker too. What I'd suggest doing is adding something that declares that the character is looking at the cars. Um, Something like that. Is it completely necessary to do this? It's probably quicker too, as to my right, I see lanes of cars extend well down the street. Or as to my right, um, you could do comma, quicker to as, comma to my right, I see lanes of, yeah, you could do that instead. What this has the advantage of over the previous installation is that I think it fully achieves what you're trying to do here with its, um, you are grounding a character in the lanes of cars, and you're positioning them with and against each other. It's a subtle difference, and I can't quite explain why, but I feel like it's stronger. If you disagree, then that's totally valid too. I don't think I have total authority over this, but maybe in my mind this works a bit better. Hmm. Basically, I should also add that a lot of us aren't descended from those criminals. Some of us have relatives that came afterwards. So my family, for instance, is a bit sort of split. Um, One side has a bit of like sort of general UK flavor, who came out here in the, I think, like the late 19th century, and they were settled rurally, whereas the other side of my family came in post World War II, so from Central Europe. So those two sides of my family have immigrated to Australia long after its foundation as a criminal colony. So we're not all criminals, but we keep the criminal spirit alive and well with our petty crimes and what's the biggest crime that we commit as a country? I'll think on that one and I'll get back to you. Hmm. Actually, we have a pretty colourful history. Not very exciting relative, but it's up there. There's the Emu War that we like to joke about on Discord. Oh, good time to plug my Discord for new people. If you click on the link underneath this video that you're watching, you'll see a Discord banner, and yeah, that's where we live. That's where I live when I'm not streaming. So yeah, come on, say hi, post some stories that you're working on. Yeah, good environment, very friendly. It's nice. I'm Vladimir. No, no, I'm not that much of a criminal. We did, that's right. It could have gotten out of hand. We really stepped in there, and we did the world a solid favor by containing those emus. Even though the emus technically won that war. Yeah. This is also not a joke. This is an actual event in our history called the Emu War. Which we ended up losing. Look, go onto Wikipedia. You'll find it. It's very funny. Um, yeah, I want to commend something here that I think is a really good example of how the narrator can impart detail about the world without explicitly telling you about it. It's people don't honk as much these days, but then again, people don't drive as much these days. It's still declarative in terms of what it's telling you, but it's more idiomatic as well. The modern equivalent of the vexed beep is a polite bleep back to systems development for more refinement. So the very fact that it's couched in a language that isn't so much just like nobody drives anymore, all the cars are autonomous, and you know, we have like remote feedback protocols that we put in place. Um, this feels like it's a more natural way of someone from the future telling you about their futuristic stuff, and then grounding it with some good old-fashioned Disneyland in Hong Kong. Hmm. Yeah, they are a bit scary, emus. If you've got food and they want that food, they're terrifying. Um, yeah, and they're just a bit funny to look at. Hmm. A little buzz tells me Felix's plane is running on time and will arrive at 11:50 this evening. You'll probably slip in just after 2, and we will have 4 hours of dozy company before the morning routine begins. With Lazy out of action, it might have to start a bit earlier. The campus is empty beside the occasional pocket of tourists or grad students. Activist posters slapped against the totems had torn in the wind, some only leaving their taped corners behind. An intact one reads, "Fight mechanization, future-proof our working-class jobs." There's actually, sorry to keep jumping in here. There's actually this poster that's outside my campus right now. It's kind of like um the working class in the age of automation, or in the age of like the automized workforce. So yeah, not as far-fetched as it seems. Yeah, I think that's interesting. It's probably more relevant to 2032. 2032? Yeah, 2032 than it is to 2019. 2018. One day we'll get there. Actress poster slapped against the totems had torn in the wind. I know what you're going for here. Um, I'd separate this out into two different descriptions. Maybe. Light post is two words. Oh, no, I'm gonna keep it one. I mean, I've got a repetition here of sun. So, the only reason why I wanted to really change this was because had torn in the wind, it doesn't sound as strong as it could be. And it trips up an otherwise interesting sentence. I don't know if this is to your taste, Mr. Herringbone. Activist posters make a colourful wrap around the light posts. You may not like that. And if you don't, totally fine. I'd recommend thinking of another way to detail this sentence here that doesn't involve had torn in the wind. I think that this is a little too clunky for the flow. That's kind of like standard Australian animal behavior. This like, if you get too close to them, they'll charge at you. Like, yep, we're used to that. Um, but to be fair, emus are big bushy things, so yeah, I do agree with you. That would be quite terrifying. Cool, nice. Excuse me, just having a bit of chocolate there. A boy wearing a Red Sox cap stands by the campus's newest sculpture, a giant bronze book. Put that between hyphens or M dashes, and that makes it like ancillary information. As his family takes photos. Beside him, the screen boasts online enrollments from 131 countries across the globe. Um, I'd change this to letters. This is probably the limit when it comes to numbers in text. The newly erected admin building, it's just convention. Peers out from above, its angular spire symbolizing something to architects in the know. Okay, 2:30. As I step into the elevator, I decide to send Alice a voice clip just in case. Attempt 1. Can I recommend that this is in italics rather than... Italics rather than caps? May look a little less shouty. And it might be a bit of a softer way to convey that it's not bad words. Um, I've had emu sausages once, but not the jerky. I'd like to try the jerky. Um, it was really tasty. I want to try emu again. Mmm, really good. It's like a sort of slightly gamey, a bit like lamb mixed with a bit of garlic and a herb. It's strong. It's a good taste. They're tasty creatures. Yeah, I wonder if you could. I wonder how you'd be able to try it if they were. Do we even export emu jerky? I wonder if we do. Porky beef is an interesting way to describe it. Yeah. My recollection was it was more like lamb. Hmm. Oh, sorry. Kangaroo is extremely nice. Yes. Yep. Yep. No, no. I'm thinking back to kangaroo taste. That's more like porky beef. Yes, you're right. I prefer emu to kangaroo. Did I just get a bit quieter? No. Um. Yeah, I prefer emu. Hmm. Good. All three of these are good. Um. God, what if one of the parents overhear that? I should have just arranged a babysitter. As the screen switches off, an angular face looks back at me from its dark mirror. I hadn't seen my cheekbones since 25. Faces change all the time for all sorts of reasons. A few skip lunches, stress, any number of reasons. Ding of a door parts. Um, as I step into the elevator, um, I think we should be privy to where she enters. What sort of building? Just to make it a bit less sudden. Oh, and now she's in an elevator. As the screen switches off, an angular face looks back at me from its dark mirror. Now this is interesting. Um, I look up to see an angular face staring back at me from deep within the mirrored world of the elevator walls. Something like that. I think this sort of description is what we need for this to be pulled off effectively. Right now, I don't have it clear. I know exactly what you mean. Like she's looking at her phone and she looks up at something and catches sight of her reflection. I want that to be a little bit fleshed out. Otherwise, I don't think it pulls off its effect quite as much as intended. Hello, Lee Everett. Come back onto Twitch. You're much more eloquent and verbose when you're on Twitch. Nothing good comes from YouTube. That's not entirely untrue. Just a general rule of thumb. The flesh is strong, the spirit is weak. Yeah, I think that's a decent summary of of that. Wait, hang on, no, the other way around. The spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak. Don't diss YouTube, or YouTube will diss me back. It's true, I actually am on YouTube. Hi YouTube, hi. I'm only streaming through you because you archive all my videos. Thank you. Um, yeah. A couple of people have said hello on YouTube. Um, and who also weren't related to me. Um, yeah, no, really the only reason I have a YouTube stream right now is because it backs up all the videos automatically. Doggo Cup, that sounds fun. Tell me more about your Doggo Cup. Tell me more. You send assassin bots. Oh no. Oh no, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. YouTube is a wonderful platform that doesn't kill people. Hmm. Like me. YouTube boy. Like and subscribe. Um, check the comments below. Playlist up there. I don't know. Playlist up there. I'm a great YouTuber. Um, the least you could do, I'm only inconspicuous. I'd feel. I don't know if anime girls and cups really mix. I mean, I've already got a minion cup. That's kind of like pinnacle. Like, how do you improve on this? This beautiful design. What fun activities have you missed? We were going to edit Naz's story. We put it away. Um, we were going to be editing Naz's story tonight, but I don't know if I got a copy of her updated story. I found something in my Google Docs, but I don't know if it's what she wants me to edit. So I'm editing Herringbone's story. I mean, and what's the yellow dollar stamps? What does that mean? I know about their strike policy, but what's the yellow dollar stamps mean? Part two or no. Um, I'm gonna relegate your fanfiction to Discord. As wonderful as it is, and as pure and majestic as the writing was, I I think there are some things that are too good to show over stream. Real psycho. Hmm. Okay, cool. Right. Interesting. Can you see that as a viewer on videos that you're watching, or is it only like you yourself for your own videos? Does that make sense? It's like, it's not that I don't like your fanfiction stories, it's that I don't want Herringbone to feel bad about the quality of his writing when compared against, you know, your extraordinarily alliterative fanfiction. Only upload it or channel over. Okay, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Um. So she's kind of looking haggard, which is just going back to the story. This makes me think that there's another reason why she may be looking haggard. Something about the way it's written foreshadows something in a way I can't quite pinpoint. Chapter 1 was flawless of Sayaka's story. Hmm. Alright, so now we're back into another chat log. Hmm. Yeah, I agree, Sayaka. I like how this ends. Nice and simple. So now we're in another sort of AI Kwang chat log. This afternoon I would like to talk about motivation, specifically what motivates people. It's important to understand, as many companies are interested in knowing what motivates potential employers to join their workforce. Would you like to start with any questions? I'm gonna suggest it's an important. Just flesh out a little more. Are people intrinsically motivated to work? That's a good question. I suppose not. Not in the sense that we invented accounting or copywriting out of a need to occupy ourselves. Money is a factor, of course, and sometimes prestige. What about jobs that are not lucrative or reputable? Well, we live within a system where we have to provide and make a living. Not everyone is able to fulfill more base motivations. Understood. Next, I want to talk about evaluating motivation. If somebody is less qualified for a position but more motivated than another person who boasts a wealth of experience, who is a better candidate? Hmm. That escalated quickly, Van Whitman. That's like a sort of elevator from hell, isn't it? Aldrich elevator. So the AI asks back, what is more important, the satisfaction of the employee or the performance of the employee? These are swapped around, aren't they? The satisfaction of the employer or the performance of the employee? Is it what? Does that sound better? What's more important, the satisfaction of the employer? The satisfaction of the employee from whose perspective? Well, first we have to assume the difference in performance is not too drastic. We have to set that parameter to a point where the company can absorb costs. That is something each company will have to configure themselves. For now, let's assume a difference in productivity of 10%. If that is an acceptable range, then we can consider consider the benefits of the employee themselves. A self-motivated employee will be more satisfied and likely to stay within the company longer even if they perform less. You're saying there is an intrinsic value in satisfying personal motivation. Well put. That is a debatable point, and some corporations may disagree. They may request you to set the productivity differential to 0%. Understood. Excellent. Do you have another question? What motivates you, Elsa? Or, sorry, not Elsa. Isla. My mistake. Chuck Tingle type stories. I don't know what a Chuck Tingle type story is. Could you elaborate, Van Whitman? Ooh. Yeah, enjoy your final. Good luck. if you can enjoy your final, do enjoy your final. Otherwise, yeah, best of luck. Hope you do well. Fingers crossed. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Play Destiny TV. Odd erotica of the weird and fantastic kind. I'm sure Twitch would enjoy that. That sounds like it's right up Twitch's alley. I think the only thing I can suggest here is just to just clarify these two variables as utility functions from the perspective of one employer, or two employee, or three both. Otherwise it gets a bit murky trying to pick it apart later. You've got like a good 40 minutes, real psycho, for a helpful comment. Keep in mind, this is Herringbone's story. You'll have your work cut out for you because it's already very good. But I'm sure you'll be able to spot some things here and there. I consider it a successful edit from my point of view because I have sold can and I got rid of one of the cans. Yes. But yeah, I've been feeling a little bit useless tonight because I'm sort of reading through it going, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Although, that being said, I have had a few points where I waffle on. You can tell I waffle when there's a bit of yellow. Oh, thank you, Sayaka. You're not useless either. None of us are useless. In the grand scheme of things, maybe, like in a cosmological sense, but in a Lyrebird edit sense, no, we're all very useful. All helpful, exactly. I'm really useless though, real talk. I like the honesty. At 3:02, I get a notification telling me that Alice, or at least her phone, is home. At 3:54, Felix sends me a photo of a grey stripe on a pale blue sky. Can see another plane from window, landing about midnight. BTW conference was great. Alice, okay? I would like, again, just, yeah, just reiterating, I think italics work better for text, rather than, I can see another plane from my window! It comes across as a bit shouty. At 4:40, Beten sends a follow-up email. He uses the phrase, touch base, twice. It's a really good detail. Oh god. You've got the academic buzzwords down to a fine art. I'm really impressed with that. That's really cool. At 5:14 my phone pings telling me a car is a couple of minutes away. Which means that at around 5:40 I hear Alice's little voice coo out as I enter the loft. Lacey? Hello, I call out, it's me. Um, the only thing I will say is that not sure as to where they are. Is this like a an Uber style? That's my guess, but I don't really know where they are or where she is to justify this. That's a good question, Mary from the Herringbone. Sayaka, it's your responsibility to think of where Shrek could be most appropriate to put into this story. It's a hard job, but someone's got to do it. Nico wants to go bowling. Nice meme. And everyone is useful for something. I agree, Van Women. Psychic, don't give up like that. Shrek always has a place within our hearts and our stories. Think of how it can squeeze in. Cuckoo. Yeah, fair point. Like it's an odd kind of expression, isn't it, for vocalization. Um, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I don't have a thing against it, but it does sound a bit weird now that I think about it. Shrek doesn't even fit into your One Piece fanfic. Now, I find that hard to believe, Sayaka. I find that very hard to believe. Hmm. Cool. People Uber rather than own cars. Yep, makes sense. uh, I'm just laughing at Sayaka's self-deprecating humor. Um, self-deprecation. Alice's face pops up from the head of a sofa. Ma, she pronounces with a Cantonese inflection. Ma? I know exactly what you mean. But I think there's a better way of describing this. Uh, so there's a different way you can describe this that I think you might like, and it's something like, Ma. I can't help but. Something like that. Like you have Ma. I can't help but hear Felix's grandparents talking through her. That accent belongs in Wan Chai and nowhere else. Wan Chai is a district in Hong Kong Island. So you can sort of pepper those little things in throughout the story. Cantonese has 7 tones. Oh, was it 7? No shit. Hang on. How many? Mm, mm, mm. It's like 6 or 7. I forget. I learned a bit of Cantonese once. Um, I know how to ask where the toilet is. I know how to order lemon chicken. I know the numbers, and I know how to say my name is David. So I'm practically fluent. I'm practically fluent in Cantonese, right? Um, I don't. I recommend flesh out the details. I I want more detail as a reader. I want to know what her house looks like, how it's situated. Is it an apartment or a standalone? I want more detail, and I think that helps here to ease everything out of like this is a really clever time skippy thing. I really like that. And I think from here onwards I kind of want it to revert back into a solid state, I guess. Uh, what was I going to do? Neil Hybo was just a cover name. Yes, that's right, my name's David. Have I never told you that before? You want to know a secret about this cup? It's my name. Put it down. Ah, there you go. That's me, that's my name. It was there in front of you all along. David Cage. No, it's not. Alas. Well, David Power. That's a good name. Like Max Power. Leslie left the loft clean, but little pockets of evidence reveal Alice's activity since getting home. Her backpack sits in the middle of the floor. An oversized red letter, Randasuru, she had got for kindergarten when we lived in Japan. I don't know what this is, and I want to Google it. Oh, damn! It's one of these. Oh, I always wondered what they were called. Um, Japan has these super distinctive primary school backpacks. These things here. They're called Randaseru. These guys here, Randaseru. It's this distinctive primary school backpack. They're so expensive. Good God. But yeah, that's what that is. I didn't know that. I learned a Japanese word today. That's cool. He must be David Copperfield. Ah, nice. Get rid of the semicolon there and put in a hyphen because this is a sentence fragment with a semicolon. It's not a complete sentence. But with a hyphen, that makes it make sense. An oversized red leather Randaceria she had got for kindergarten when we lived in Japan. A jar of mayonnaise is open on the counter, and on the table sits the unwanted crusts of a sandwich. There's a little black scuff on the white tiles from where her shoes had screeched, dancing. Over by the wall of moss, Felix's pet project lays a cushion. It's become a bit disheveled in his absence. Opposite the moss shines the Boston skyline. On the television is a Hong Kongese kids show. Felix's parents wanted her to learn Cantonese so she could speak to her grandparents' mother tongue. Can I suggest mother tongue? Simple suggestion, because we've already got Felix's there, grandparents' mother tongue. Maybe that flows a bit better without the double possessive there. Especially because with kids show, Felix's grandparents' over by the wall of moss, Felix's pet project lays a cushion. It's become a bit disheveled in his absence. One of those sentences where it's difficult to tell which it this is referring to, because the last sentence doesn't have much weight on either the object or subject. This is tricky. Usually if you have a sentence that's like, over on the kitchen table, my precious Mingen mug glimmered in the sunshine, the mug that Cristiano Ronaldo had given to me for my 22nd birthday, full stop. It was very dirty, full stop. That it is a very clear it because I spent the majority of the last sentence describing the mug. But in this sentence here, there's an equal balance between the subject, the wall of moss, and the object lays a cushion. It's almost equal, so I don't know which it's this is referring to. David Carlisle Bird. So Lyrebird? Yeah, I'll accept that. David Carlisle Bird. I'm not sure if that's a true fact there, Sayaka, unless you're taking a dakimakura of a Randacero. That probably exists, but I don't want to Google that. No way. No thank you. How did you go walking home today, Sweet Pea? Oh, and look at your braid. Who did that? Lacey did this morning. Well, that's nice, isn't it? I hope you said thank you. She rolls her eyes in pantomime. Yes. Full stop there. How'd you go getting home? Good. She disappears back into the couch for a moment and returns with the keychain. I didn't lose the key. You're so brave. I thought maybe we could go out for dinner tonight because you were so good. Alice beams and does an excited bop. Yay! Is Lacey coming? Not tonight, Sweet Pea. She won't be home until tomorrow. Her mouth scrunches before flashing another smile. Daddy? Just us. A bit of mum and daughter's night. A bit of a mum and daughter's night. Okay, she flips back onto the sofa. I go around to join her, picking up a wayward cushion along the way. On the screen, a cute pink creature sings a Cantonese song about eggs. What's the show called? Shushu Dongvu Diu, like an idiot? It's about pets. It's Gwen's favorite. Let me just check something. Gwen is Alice's imaginary friend. She used to be embodied by the Pokemon doll Felix had brought back from Japan, but now she's an invisible little girl. Oh, isn't that cool? Cool, she echoes in an accent as she slips her head off the couch, always bustling with energy. She points beneath my pencil skirt. Oh. Ah. Gotcha. No idea. Thank you, something something, except that maybe Mandarin. Hmm. I don't know. Yeah, the accent E. I often forget that that's actually how you write Pokemon, with the accented E. Um, Any suggestions here? I'd like something here. I'd like something here to set the tone between mother and daughter. Does Kwang... sorry, Isla. Or Elsa. No, not Elsa. Um, Isla. Does Isla have any... Um, does she have any worries or concerns? Or is she confident in her ability to talk to her daughter? Pause. Oh, cool. Hmm. This doesn't have too many dialogue tags, no. I don't think it needs it. I think it's obvious who's talking because of the age difference, and I think it flows really well. Um, but yeah, just add a little thing here about how it all comes to a point before the dialogue starts, and that would help the reader prime their expectations for how mother and daughter are to interact. Hmm. It was, like, yay is two E's? I've always seen it as Y-A-Y. Fair suggestion, though. Add even one more looks a bit better. For some reason, drawn out words need more. I've noticed that before too. Isn't it funny? Yeah, I agree with Sayaka. Okay, yeah. How to talk with her daughter. She does come across as a bit awkward, which is I think really interesting. Yeah. Two A's re. Oh wow, that's not good. Bandwidth. Hmm. Hmm. Anyway, let's push on. Um, She points beneath my pencil skirt. What's that? I look down to find an archipelago of brown bruises on my calf. Some are a bit redder, newer, more recent than the doctor's appointment this morning. They're just sunspots, sweetie. You get them when you're an adult. She seems content with that answer. So, where should we go for our little girl's night out? Okay, this confirms a suspicion I had that she's a bit sick. Which was sort of the end of here. Stress any number of reasons. Where are we now? Alice chooses a place called Chairman Bow's, which is bustling for a Wednesday evening. We must look a bit out of place compared to the raucous 20-somethings and fleeting professionals over at the standing service counter. In, eat, out they go, off to be sucked down the subway to their condos and dwellings. I'll keep an eye out for this archipelago metaphor. I think one of the waiters was an eager front rower in my intelligence's psychology class. Above our table is a Great Leap Forward era style propaganda poster. In its center, a smiling dumpling. It looks out to the edge of the frame toward a better future. Gosh, the music's a bit loud. A clappy tenor girl barking over a bassy Cuban beat. This has to be a colon. Again, it's that's a sentence fragment without. Hmm. Yep. Wait, did she just say, despite the noise, Alice looks happy as she dangles Xiaolongbao from chopsticks and into her mouth? Take a clip of Alice and send it to Felix. A rumble on the table a moment later says, beautiful, say hi from me. Papa says hi. He sent me a message from the plane. Al shows off a Cantonese. Neho. Hey. Yes. Are they tasty? I ask. Yep, she replies. Don't you want any? I don't feel hungry, so all I ordered was a Diet Coke. The waitress made a point of asking, is that all tonight? As she took our order. I'm used and feeling hungry, sweet pea. One of the funny things about learning Cantonese was that sometimes, like, the way that you write it in English doesn't have a standard form. No, that's wrong. There are standard forms, but sometimes it's N's, and sometimes it's L's. When I learnt it, it was Leihou, and the accents indicate the tone. Yeah. Hmm. But yeah, that's totally valid, by the way. Yep. Then Neho. Then again, I'm probably not an authority on Cantonese to English translations, seeing as I only know like five phrases. It was fun learning though. Yeah, I'm by no means an expert. Uh, you're calling me that like I'm a baby. Where did she get that eye roll from? I thought you liked being called Sweet Pea. She got that nickname as a baby back when Felix's company had sent us to Japan. To give us some respite, our nanny, Tomo, had taken Alice out to explore Ueno for the day. It was the first time we had had an afternoon alone, and together, in months. We spent it on the couch, looking through an IKEA catalogue. What was that album Felix played? The one with the obscene cover art that he got it from the Tower Records closing sale. We might have gone down to Lawson's for snacks, but nothing else. A rare, lazy day. Tomo returned. Alice was dressed in a bright green jumpsuit with pom-poms. Sutopi, Tomo called her. The name had stuck ever since. Alice licked her chopsticks clean, dabs at her mouth with a napkin, and says in her best lady voice, well, I think it's about time we be off. I imagine she got that one from Mum when she visited last month. My little impressionable sponge. A little lady of her own now. On her cheek, a little bruise-like smear of soy sauce sticks to her lip. Uh, I'd, I'd keep on her cheek. Sticks out, maybe? Sticks out? Hmm. I have to think of how to fix... it can't be both on her cheek and on her lip unless it's connected, so maybe have to think about how to join those two together. Anything else? Yep, you have to divide that up with Tomo. Hyphen, hyphen. Good, yeah, so the M dashes, they can be used there. Which makes it difficult because it's there again in the next sentence. Interesting suggestion, um, says me onto this comment about Diet Coke Dr. Pepper. I don't like Dr. Pepper. I'm sorry, I don't. Tastes like, bad medicine. Delete dab. Where was the dab? I didn't see any dab. Ah, being in two places. You can put a dab of soy sauce. Don't hear you. It's actually, yeah, Ernst is right. It's really difficult to find here in Australia. Needs to be in specialty stores. Oh, dabs in her mouth. No, no, I think that's fine. I'm happy with dabs in her mouth. um, what was I gonna say? Um, Oh, I was gonna search for archipelago. That's right. That's what I was. Give me a sec. Oh, an archipelago brown bruises. Gotcha. I quite like it. I can see why some people might trip up over it, but I think as an editor, it's a valid choice. That's from my perspective. Yep, that could also work. Runs down to her lips. Um, or it could be the other way around, like from her lips, um, like a little river of soy sauce trickles onto her chin. Something like that. I think either of those would be valid just here, but it's not a huge point. Um, I want to know. Hang on, IP. I'm very curious to see what. If this is a valid IP address. No. I don't think it's a valid IP. Let me. Hang on. Yes, it is. It is. Ah, it's a Massachusetts IP. That's very good attention to detail. I'm very impressed with that. Wow, hot damn. Very cool. That may change. Oh no, it's a static IP. Ah, thought of everything. Wonderful. Um, good evening, Isla. What is your reason for accessing at 1:44? I can't sleep. I want to make an amendment to our earlier discussion on motivation. What would you like to amend? Before we had concluded that maximizing happiness was the only source of motivation outside of a religious framework. Did we? Um, I don't remember us doing this, but maybe there's like, maybe this occurred in an intermediary session. I don't remember it happening. If this is the impression that you want to give, you might have to couch it a little bit in the kind of language that assumes that several instances of this conversation have already taken place. Oh, gotcha. But it might be good to have in there. Um, you could even have so something like this, for instance. Like, which one would you like to amend? I want to add that family may play a similar role to that of religion. I would like to check my understanding. We concluded that people permit unhappiness if it serves a proportional religious purpose, and that this procures a fulfillment unique to happiness in the calculus of motivation. You wish to equate family to religion in this paradigm. Yes, that's correct. Understood. Like faith, is the value of family fulfillment compared to personal happiness, subject to individual variation? Ooh, that's a sentence. Like faith, is the value of family fulfillment compared to personal happiness, subject to individual variation? Yes, correct. Understood. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss, Isla? I click up a door, and the rise of ambient lighting from the lower floor tells me Felix is home. I put the slate down and prop my head up in my hand to watch him from the mezzanine. It's a cool night, but I got this terrible sweat. It's just a fever. Felix picks his suitcase up and walks it in exaggerated quiet steps like a cartoon burglar to the table. He rummages for his toothbrush before brushing his teeth in the kitchen sink. There's a plod plod as his shoes come off and he pads up the stairs. Sorry, did I wake you? No, I was just doing some work. How was the flight? Felix arches his back and lets out a hushed groan, cramped. Was fine though. I finished off some accounts work, so I can take the next 2 days off. He sits down on the bed. Guess what I found in duty free? Hmm? That sherry you liked from Japan. Ah, well, we know where this sherry comes from. Yeah. So Medina. Felix clicks his finger. That's the one. He unbuttons his shirt. I don't know why he insisted on dressing up for flights. I feel a touch of tiredness seep in as I reply. Thanks. Felix gets into his jammies and slips in beside me. Have a nice dinner with Alice? I thought I brought her back. I brought her back some com compito. I don't know what that is, but I want to know. Copy. Oh, cool. It's like a candied sugar sort of thing. Competo. Competo. Cool. Oh, okay. Ah. Hmm. Cool. Yeah, she really wanted to go to this bar place. Felix loves his pillow. Chairman's? Yeah, I've taken her there a couple of times recently. Really? I never heard of it. Felix's hand finds my shoulder in the darkness. God, you're drenched. You're right. Yeah, I think it's just a coming fever. I'm fine. Just a fever. Hey, little Lovecraft. Welcome to the stream. We're editing Ernst Herringbone's story tonight. We're... oh, plowing through it. 11 out of 20 pages. Nice. So it's about this woman called Isla who's taken up a position, or almost taken up a position, in a Boston uni sometime in the future. And she's working with an AI protocol she's having these conversations with here. And all around her, she is, I think, having some difficulty relating to her daughter. So both of those things are sort of working their way together in how she's interacting with the AI and how she's interacting with her family. Yeah, welcome, welcome. A little cone of steam fogs the window as I watch down the molecular. A little cone of steam fogs the window as I watch down on molecular humans making their way through the morning streets. I can hear Felix sip his coffee behind me. I eye his image reflected in the window. Full stop. What was that album? The one you got in Tokyo with the cover? With the cover? Echoes Felix. The one your parents commented on. They hid it in the bookshelf. Eureka, Jim O'Rourke. Yes, which you actually introduced me to that recently. This is a really good album, by the way. Completely side point, but yeah, Herringbone was telling me over Discord about how his one of the songs on that album reminded me of one of my stories when he was reading it. Um, yeah, totally agree about the cover. It's iconic and difficult on the eyes. it's it's a great album. That's really good. Yeah, that's the one weird. I don't know what made me think of it. There's a ping in the distance as one of us gets a notification. Oops, excuse me. That one. Ah, cool. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean, Herringbone. They do bleed together a little bit. That's pretty cool. Felix wanders off to check on the moss wall. He wanted to be up to take Alice to school. I didn't even think about it. Um, did she have homework last night? She's usually pretty vigilant, so maybe not. I can see the school from here, built right into the base of a new Exomos tower. Gosh, it's full of corporate bratlets. They have a uniform like a Kensington selective entry back home in London. Hmm. The hat is cute, but I hope it doesn't rub off on Alice. Is that where the eye rolling comes from? Moss is going a bit dry, Felix mumbled to himself in the distance. There was a swish swish as he mists the wall with his special moss water. Little footsteps pad along the tiles. We'll do this one, and then I think I might call that a night. Felix beams in his... Oh, actually, no, sorry, I wanted to comment here. Oops, source code. I get rid of a division here. Felix beams in his Big Daddy voice. Good morning, Sweepy. Baba, Alice calls in Cantonese. Good morning, I call out to deaf ears. We've been practicing. He hoists Alice up into a big, swaying hug. Oh, getting big. How have you been? I missed you. Alice giggles as he rocks her about. You can do full stop or comma here. Both would work. Good, I walked home all by myself yesterday. Felix put her down with a groan and thud. Mummy told me, sorry. It's just a once off. Don't worry, I'll pick you up today. Yay! Felix doesn't seem bothered by the jet lag. He makes us breakfast, singing along with Alice in Cantonese as he butters toast. Eggs and soldiers for Alice, poached for us. As I'm getting dressed, I realize it's the first full meal I've had in a while. It's nice to have Felix back. Gosh, but the bruises are still there. I opt for stockings. I think this detail is good. A part of me wants to suggest to add a bit more detail about the streetscape outside, or looking down at her legs and still seeing the bruises there, but I think it works fairly well in terms of how it's a bit more restrained, and I think that can be okay. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Of just that variety of different personalities and different roles they can take. I'm trying to think of other ones too. Assistant, um, anti-hero, um, in the movie Ex Machina, there's a really good movie. Is it called Ex Machina? Yes. In Ex Machina, that's a really interesting AI personality. It's half antagonist, half protagonist. Very difficult to sort of figure it out. But good movie that one. But yeah, you're totally right. They're very versatile characters. I think it's always worthwhile treating AI with a bit more sort of humanity and sympathy when you're writing about them too. I think the killer AI stories have really been done to death, and I think it's always worthwhile exploring how AI interacts with people in different ways too. So yeah, it's incumbent on us to use our imaginations. Designs you could sell. Thank you, Sayaka. I'm horrified, honestly, at your mock-up designs. Let's say no more about them. He looks like Big Daddy his whole time. Different kind of Big Daddy. Ah, I think you can reuse the same name. I don't think there's an issue there. Oh, becomes a conscience. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. That's sort of she's exporting. Isla is exporting her sort of worries and how she treats her family. It's almost like she's living vicariously through the AI, but not living. It's more sort of just imparting her own moral code onto the AI. Yeah. Takes on her ideals, yeah, yeah. I'd like to play Detroit Become Human. Yeah, it looks like a really cool game. Didn't decide to win Lana. Hmm. 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 That's right, the whole movie is a Turing test, yeah. Um, and a really good one too. I think it also has a bit of a red room test in it. I think that was mentioned in the movie as well. But yeah, you're right. It's a really good example of how it was handled. It was very interesting. Yeah, definitely recommend it to people who haven't seen it. Yeah, definitely get around to it. And it's a really good story, movie, and story within a movie. Yeah, it's good. There's the Bechdel test. Strictly speaking, it does, because it doesn't have. It only has one female character, and she's a robot. Keep in mind there are only three characters in the whole movie. So and I don't think the point of that movie, could it have been two women and one man? Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna call it there, just a fever. I think I want to leave it there tonight. There's a servant. Wait, is it? Oh yeah, that's right. There. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep, there is. So there's room. There's actually room for the Bechdel test to take place. That's right. I totally forgot about the guy's servant. Hmm. Cool. Ernst, thank you for letting me edit your story on such short notice. Thank you for sending it over. We got through a lot actually. It's really smooth. Love how it's all flowing together, and I think it's touching on a really interesting theme too. I'm looking forward to seeing what becomes of Isla and this AI that she's helping to form a conscience around. Yeah, that's right. She can't speak. That's right. I remember now. I remember. Good. For new people, pop over onto my Discord. It's the link is underneath the video you're watching. Just click on the Discord banner, and you will find my Discord. Come and say hi. Mm. An unexpected edit. The best kind of edit. Unexpected. I think that's the case, Lilith. Spoilers! Spoilers! Um, I think that's the case, yeah. The weak and the weak and the downtrodden. I'll represent all kinds from all walks of life. I think that's right, Lilith. Yeah. Anyway, don't ruin for Ernst. That's that'll come out in the movie. Alright, good stuff. Thank you for people who joined me tonight. Um, thank you for being patient with me at the start while I got up, got the stream ready. Um, and thanks for everyone new who came tonight. Saw a few new faces. No, no, that's okay, Lilith. All good. Um, it's only a minor thing anyway. But yeah, thanks for everyone new who came and stopped by to say hi. We will catch you guys on Sunday. Probably be editing Naz's story, but if Naz doesn't send anything over, we can continue on with this one. Yeah, thanks again, Herringbone, for sending the story over. Nice to meet you too, Lilith. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you on Sunday, 9 a.m. my time. Ooh. Alrighty, we'll catch you then.